Hi guys, in a part 3, Talk to Your Soil, I showed you why remote sensing soil maps are inaccurate, because they cannot measure the most simple, the most fundamental soil parameter, which is the depth and thickness of particular soil layer. In this video clip, I will show you how equally useless remote sensing devices are when we're talking about soil structure. Soil structure is arrangement of a wide range of soil particles clumped together to form larger units or aggregates that can vary greatly in shape, size and whole range of other soil properties. And then we use terms such as good structure or bad soil structure and so on. But how do you define good structure or bad structure? That is the question. Let me give you an example. For instance, an ideal paddy rice soil is with a structure that breaks readily into the mud and makes that soil virtually impermeable. But, this kind of ideal soil structure for rice it's highly undesirable for a whole range of crops that don't like wet feet. Anyway, to keep it simple, then we, by convention, said, well, structure which is longer, then wide, and then has a domes, it's called that way. The other structure which has a sharp faces fitting tightly flat on the surface, it's called that way. Some structure which is just like a plate, it's called that way, and so on and so on. On the other hand, some soils have no structure at all. It's virtually a loose sand grains, if you like, just like a desert soils or sand dunes. Other soils have a very massive structure. But then again, being massive structure doesn't mean either good or bad. Why? Some massive structure completely prevent roots and water penetration. We may need it for crops such as rice. On the other hand, you may have entire beautiful profile, really massive, but very permeable, penetrable to roots. Can't be better than it is. So, what actually structure means to you? To make it short, in these modern days where everything goes digital, remote, etc., the question is, can those gadgets measure soil structure? Can they tell you actually what it is? The answer is straightforward and clear. No, they cannot. And if they say they can, that is simply not true unless they prove it other way. They cannot tell you that. You have to dig a soil profile, observe it and measure it, and skip all of that rubbish. Is it stable? These are different measurements. First of all, recognize which structure you're talking about in conventional terms so that we can communicate. Then we can go into detail whether it's stable, unstable, whether it shrinks, swells, disperses. Totally different issues. The main point is remote sensing devices of any kind, and therefore remote sensing maps, are absolutely useless in terms of measuring soil structure in any soil whatsoever.